all the way up to Bend, Oregon, and we knew we had to come by and meet with Ryan Fish to get an update. You guys at the shop know that we are huge fans of Weber mandolins, and we've carried them for, I think the second year we were in business, we started carrying Weber mandolins, and all the way up through the pandemic, we carried them, and then the acoustic guitar boom happened, where it turns out you can build about 8 guitars for every mandolin you can build. So the folks at Two Old Hippies basically said, all you mandolin builders are now building guitars to help us keep up with production, and the mandolins got put on hold. And Ryan, at the time, you were the lead designer and kind of the head of the mandolin department at that time, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And so Ryan, being as passionate about the mandolins and building mandolins as he was, obviously you're still a fan of building guitars, and
Absolutely,
that's where you got started, right, with guitar building?
Yeah, I went to Berlin School of Lutherie, and that's I got started building guitars there.
But mandolins has always been your passion, and when it was kind of unclear whether the Weber mandolins would continue to happen, or if they would happen, when it would happen, you decided to, and you can tell us part of the story, take the risk and say, I want to keep this legacy name alive. I want to do what I'm passionate about, building mandolins. So you approached Tom and...
Yeah, my wife Michelle and I, we were talking about our future and talking about mandolins and passion of mandolins, and we decided to have a conversation with Tom, and he's been so supportive. I don't even have words to say how kind and supportive he has been. So we acquired Weber mandolins and continuing building the legacy that when Weber came to Bend, I started working with Bruce and Bruce Jr. and then went on to being the lead luthier there for years and designing and put so much passion into the instruments and dedication. Keeping them going, meant a lot to me and my wife Michelle. So
we were really excited when we heard it, because I have told you this when we've met at NAMM the last few years, and I also tell all of our customers the same thing. I think some of the best Weber mandolins have been these last 5 years. Just everyone that would get in the store, everybody would be excited to play it, and they all would just the volume and resonance and quality of them was just exceptional. So when I heard that you were taking on this big risk and going out on your own to keep the brand alive, I knew Weber was in the right hands, and we were all excited to hear about it. And that's why we said, and then, when did you acquire? Was it the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 that you guys?
Yeah, the end of 2021, I think, or no, 2020.
Okay,
it was sort of 2020.
So you couldn't force yourself in that guitar mold for too long. You're itching to get this off the ground, I imagine. But it obviously takes a while to tool that up. But when we got that call, we're like, this is very exciting, and we knew next time we came up to Oregon, we had to meet with you and get kind of an update on how things are coming. I know it takes a lot to build a workshop from scratch, get all the plumbing in, the dust collection, all the tooling, and then get things ready to actually start building, which, as we were talking here earlier, it seems to be about that stage you're at right now we've got the foundations in place, now the building's going to begin.
Yeah, absolutely. And moving everything over so that was a big, but yeah, now we're at the stage where we're building some mandolins and getting the first batch of mandolins out.
And we got one of ours, I think, getting ready to be built. We have, this could be it. No. Do you know which one this is?
It's going to be a Road Dog.
Okay. And that's what we got on order, so there we go. So this could be the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool. So things are tooled up, you're starting to build, and obviously getting off the ground right now, it's just going to be you doing the building, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then, so production, do you have kind of a goal in mind of where you want to be in the next year, or you're just kind of feeling it out and learning as you go?
Well, we're kind of feeling out and learning as we go, but I mean, we're hoping I'm hoping to build 3 a month with the help of some friends that I built instruments with in the past. We'll be doing the finished work, and I'll be doing all the building.
Towards the end of the Weber legacy with Two Old Hippies, you said it was just you and one other builder at the time doing all the mandolins, right? And then another doing finish work?
Yeah, Scott, so there were 3. Yeah, Dalton was doing the finished work, and Scott and I were the only ones building. Mm-hmm.
So you already pretty much had your hands in just about every aspect of the build process. It wasn't quite the segmented divisions that are in a lot of the guitar, where you're the guy that just does binding, you're the one that does neck joints. You were pretty much doing...
It definitely was not that, yeah. We were doing, between Scott and I, whoever could we worked together for a long time, so we worked together really well. So whoever could fill in with whatever need, because I was also doing string ups. So if something needed to be bound, I did it, or if it needed, or he did it. So we both did, everything. And there have been different parts. I mean, that's kind of how Weber's been.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a totally new learning curve for you. It's just going to be getting back into what you were doing, just with a slight delay and then a new location.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been building all facets, so that none of that's new.
And you got started building Breedlove mandolins first, right? And you worked directly with Kim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 17 years ago, I moved up to Bend, Oregon after going to Roberto Van and working for an electric bass company for a little while. Moved up to Bend, Oregon to build mandolins and learn from Kim Breedlove and Jason Bowerman. So worked with them since they moved, and then Bruce asked me to join the team, and we worked together for years, and great to learn from those folks.
Was there a lot to learn? I was going to ask that, like the way that Bruce built mandolins, because he had a great reputation coming from Flatiron and Gibson, and then starting the Weber mandolin company. Was there a lot of different? Because I know Breedlove is a very unique mandolin design, a different feel to it, a different exterior aesthetic look to it.
Right.
So was there a lot of learning that came from the Webers when you switched over from the Breedlove style of building mandolin to building the kind of iconic Weber model?
Well, I did learn a lot from a lot of it was different perspectives and different ways of doing things. I mean, the core of both were, building pretty similar, but talking about different philosophies on graduation of tops and going to lunch and having some real mandolin nerd conversations was right in my wheelhouse.
You've figured it out, and you've gotten pretty consistent. We were watching you do some carving here, and a lot of those numbers that you're looking for, you're not having to reference because they're just you've got it internalized, and you know what you're looking for initially to get the right graduation, and then you really spend the time feeling the flex, and you use the what do we call the compression?
The deflection.
Deflection.
A deflection jig to put. Yeah. So even at this stage, I'll work on feeling it and seeing how it. But I put it in the deflection, which simulates string tension on the top and how a top's going to react to that string tension. So we can sand and open things up to kind of get a real consistent reading, which, I mean, so the tops react extremely consistently. We've been pretty pleased with how that goes.
So that's basically trying to, because each piece of wood is going to be a little more dense or strong than the next piece, you're trying to kind of get every top to its ideal deflection for a strength ratio so that it doesn't, it needs to move enough that you know that top's going to resonate when it's got strings on it and get the most volume out of it. So you don't want something that doesn't deflect at all, but you also don't want it too thin where that top starts to sink or...
Absolutely, yeah. If you get it too much, then it just becomes floppy, and there's a sweet spot. Yeah, for sure.
And again, you've probably dialed that in over the years, and you kind of know what you're looking for on each top.
Oh yeah, took a lot of measurements and took a lot of data over the years to find out what the sweet spot was, which is a real. I mean, we're talking 5,000s. There's a range of 5,000s that go for because that's the sweet spot where
the magic happens.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now that you're set up, you got your own shop. It's under your home. It's all right where you want to be, basically. What does that feel like different compared to when you had 8 mandolins a week going out, and it's more of we've got to build still very high quality. Like I said, they were great mandolins. Everyone that would come to the shop, but now you're kind of able to do it at your pace and spend a little bit more time maybe on details that before you might have had pressure you got to get more out the door. I know Tom, he's a great guy. We've just been having so much fun with him over at Breedlove and Bedell. And he said Ryan was one of our best luthiers, and he was so meticulous. Like everything had to be perfect, which I admire. He said I admire him for that. But that's something that made those mandolins so well is that you would spend the time to make sure every little detail is the way it should be. Does that feel different now that you've got your own shop? And obviously, the risk of taking on a business, you've got to build mandolins and get them out there to help, pay for this endeavor. But now you're kind of able to do it at your own pace and make sure things are the way you want them to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Every little thing, I'll be able to make sure that I'm dialing in and just the exact way I want to. and saved a little bit of time on the commute that I could put back into, and
Down the stairs.
just down the stairs and get to hang out with the dogs and the sheep run around outside and chickens, and so I've been working really hard late hours, and that's what I'd want to be doing.
I think
Just spend the time.
that comes across in the Mandolins, that it's not just a job, but this is something you're passionate about doing. Obviously enough that you took a secure position that you had building for a very successful business and said, I'm going to go out on my own and do something that I'm just really passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's what makes these are going to be a pretty limited thing now, right? The scale that you're putting out is not going to be where it used to be. What is the plan? You said you're going to only have 3 dealers in the U.S. that carry the Mandolins?
Yeah, that's correct. And build 3 a month, so 1 each month for the dealers, and partner with the dealers that we really like and are, a real partnership is very important to us.
Well, we're very thankful that you guys felt enough to include us in that very limited list of dealers so that we could have these in the store.
Well, thank you. And I like to get to hear Jeremy play our mandolins. So that's
You got that right. But that is good that you guys felt that we represented you well enough that when you obviously had a lot of dealers before carrying Weber mandolins. When you guys made this decision, the business model that you have going forward isn't to be a high production facility where you're going to turn this into a factory building mandolins. You're going to keep it mainly just you passionately building some of the finest mandolins you can, and very limited distribution model where there's only going to be a few of the ones that you selected dealers to represent you. And like I said, we were very proud and thankful that you included us in that list.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that's definitely the model that's we want to do going forward, and that's kind of it's a dream scenario for us.
Now being here and getting to see some of your wood selection and see kind of what you're doing, I'm excited to work directly with you and maybe do some little extras that we maybe couldn't have done before, selecting some of the woods to go on it. You've shown me some of the 40-some-year-old Adirondack spruce tops that we might be able to get pieces of and put together a mandolin using that, and tell the story. And some of you guys are planning on doing too, where you're going to document some of the history of that, where the wood came from, and show your progress along the way building the mandolin, and include that with the mandolin for the end user to get to watch their instrument being from ideation to completion along the way, which I think is a great thing that you couldn't have done in a larger factory workshop as you can do now on your own terms.
Yeah, I know as somebody who's bought a lot of instruments myself, that's something I would be interested in, seeing the process along the way, and seeing that violin wood. Bruce bought that's dated 1984. Bought that from a violin maker.
And who knows how long he had it sitting.
Yeah, so it's well seasoned. It's fun.
Well, I was saying it would make some really good firewood, but he told me not to do that. He's going to use it for mandolin tops, which is great. We're really looking forward to this kind of new chapter, and being a part of it is very exciting for us. And you guys, only 3 dealers in the U.S. are going to be able to have these mandolins. We're one of them, and every time we get one in, we're going to do a big review of it and get you all the information. So keep subscribed. Thank you if you already subscribed to the channel, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe and like. So as soon as we get that next update from Weber, we're going to let you guys know all about it. And I can't wait to get this first. We got a Red Rock a Road Dog in build right now. Yeah. It's going to be the first one we get, and I'm very excited to get that into the shop and into my hands, and then hopefully into one of your hands.